Namaste. Welcome to day 11. Today we move on to the third limb of Raja Yoga, known as asana. Asana means pose, and Patanjali introduces the concept with the verse Stira Sukham Asana. Asana is steadiness and comfort. As Sandra Anderson, a teacher from my tradition, explains, although we're exploring the physical body, the Annamaya kosha, steadiness and comfort describe an inner state of being as well. The body can support the expansive state of a beautiful, clear, calm mind. Asanas not only relieve tension in the body so we can move and breathe, but also can sharpen our senses, draw the mind back into the body, and anchor our awareness in the ever calm, ever clear inner witness. Patanjali only mentions asana a couple of times in the Sutras. The poses were further discussed in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, and the practice was meant to cleanse and ease the body, to prepare for extended periods of seated meditation. In order to cultivate a steady and comfortable seat, we must take our body through a range of postures, including standing, bending, sitting, reclining, twisting, and inverting, in order to energize and restore the harmonious functions of all our limbs and organs. But we also need the determination to practice regularly with full attention and intention. Which brings us to this segment's chakra, the solar plexus. Also known as Manipura Chakra. It is translated as lustrous gem and is associated with the sun and the element fire. It represents energy, power, will, and determination. It is the center of our self-esteem, willpower, self-discipline. The yantra of the Manipura Chakra is a yellow lotus with 10 petals, carrying a downward pointing triangle at its center and the Bija mantra Ram. Yellow is associated with fire and the sun, and has a strong radiating energy. The 10 petals can represent 10 blocking qualities that we must overcome to fully open this chakra. Sadness, foolishness, delusion, disgust, fear, shame, treasury, jealousy, ambition, and ignorance. The upside down triangle represents the energy of the 3 lower chakras, being concentrated and energetically spreading up to the higher chakras. The energy of this chakra allows us to transform the inertia of matter and movement into a conscious direction of willed activity. It allows us to meet challenges and to move forward in life with confidence and power, motivated by survival and pleasure. As you would imagine, the work in the solar chakra is all related to the core. This core complex is a complex. And if you can think of it as a whole cylinder that begins at the pelvic floor, which we have been exploring quite a bit. And it caps at the respiratory diaphragm. So both diaphragms we have been exploring are the container, so to speak, of this core complex. So anything in between those diaphragms is the core. Without getting crazy with anatomy, we can think of it as the rectus abdominis, the external obliques, the internal obliques. We have the transverse abdominis, very deep, the psoas, quadratus lumborum. We have multifidi, which is already part of your spine, longissimus thoracix, iliocostellis, and a couple of more lumbordums deeper into the spine. So we're looking for a movement of extension, flexion, lateral flexion, and lateral rotation. And today's practice will be an exploration of those movements and how these muscles are interrelating with each other. So I'm going to ask you to sit at the edge of your chair. Anchor the feet. Get the roots into the earth. Stabilize your vessel. And close your eyes. For a moment, once you connect to your sitting bones and you feel stable on both sides, take notice on how your spine is standing over your pelvis. We took our time last segment exploring fluidity in the pelvis, so that the spine can be free to stand tall. But this tall stance depends very much on the quality of your core. So we all have our tendencies of rotating to one side, leaning on to one sitting bone, or rotating to the other side. I just don't want you to judge anything. I want you to be fully aware of your tendencies. Now bring the attention to the tips of your nostrils. And invite the breath into your belly. Begin the practice by sensing the movement of both diaphragms. I repeat that as you inhale, both diaphragms move away from the heart into the earth. And as you exhale, both diaphragms move toward the heart, away from the earth. as we explored previously, as we inhale, the inhalation is meant to expand, but the diaphragms are sending energy into the roots. And as we exhale, the exhalation is meant to soften or to ground, all that while the diaphragms are sustaining the energy that moves up. So I want you to start to warm up your abdominal muscles and in fact your entire core by focusing on drawing that navel deeply into the spine and up towards the heart. Because there is no flexion of the spine, and you're not really changing the relationship of, say, your shoulders with your hips, consider this your isometric contraction of your core. Fully aware of how those many layers of your complex are contracting as you exhale. Give me 2 more breaths like that. Now begin to deepen your breath, encouraging the yogic breath. Have your hands towards your knees, palms down. The next time you inhale, you're going to extend the spine. So the pelvis anteriorly tilts. With the inhalation, bring the attention to the back of your core. And with the exhalation, drop the tail. Begin to move the pelvic floor up and bring the attention to the front of your core. Inhale, tilt the pelvis. Allow the tailbone to go up and back behind you. Extend the spine. And as you exhale, flex the spine. Two more breaths like that. Think of this as a crunch as you're flexing with the exhalation. Next time you inhale, come upright. Grab a hold of your sandbag with your left hand. All that while maintaining that long torso. As you inhale, your torso is upright. Drop your left hand off the lap And as you exhale, laterally bend over to the right. Can you still maintain the left sitting bone grounded? Then inhale, come back to center. Exhale, laterally bend over to the left. Maybe the sandbag is going to touch the floor. It's okay. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, take it over to the right. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, over to the left. Do you notice any difference between sides? Is one side, obviously, you have the sandbag on one hand only, but is one side more available to bend? Two more times. Are you still upright with your torso, or are you beginning to curl in? Bring the attention so that you erect the entire spine and continue with just a lateral flexion. Last one. Inhale, come back to center. Swing that sandbag around and switch it to the other hand. Can you still maintain the torso upright? When you inhale, you're in the center. Drop your left hand down, exhale, take a lateral bend over to the left. Is it different on this side? Can you sustain the posture without twisting or flexing the spine? Three more on each side. If you expect to hear from me often, just know that I'm expecting you to be completely in tune with what's happening. One more. Inhale, come back to center. Place the sandbag off to one side or another. Pause here. Now, as you inhale, the torso is completely centered. As you exhale, you're going to start to twist over to the right. There's no grabbing. There's no leverage to take you. You want to really get deep into those core muscles. So now you have a different set of muscles acting for the spiral. All that while maintaining your torso erect. So, the external obliques are going to assist when you turn in the opposite direction. So if you're turning to the left, your right external obliques are going with you. All that while the left internal obliques are assisting. When you inhale back to center, it's the other way around. Your left external are working to allow you to spiral over to the right, while the internal obliques, so they have like a crisscross effect right at the side of your waist. Inhale, center. Exhale over to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale over to the other side. Continue on. Notice not just what happens when you exhale, but as you unspiral, what is going on? Complete 2 more on each side. Beautiful. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, pause and observe. Now that you have awakened the entire core complex, what does it feel to stand tall, to sit with a tall torso? Step on your feet. The next time you inhale, step firmly into the earth. And as you exhale, press to sit up. Take your chair, move it over to the side. You're no longer going to need it, so you can take it completely off to the side. And come lay down on your back. Take your core ball with you and find your way into constructive rest. There is no rest here. But you find constructive rest so you can lift your pelvis, place the ball underneath your sacrum, secure the ball underneath the sacrum because you're going to need that stability to do the next round of awakening and strengthening at this point. We've been here before. We were doing the whole circle in one direction, in the opposite direction, but the feet were on the ground. We're going to challenge the core now. We're going to take the feet up in the air. So as we inhale, the legs are in the center, nice and tight together. As we exhale, we're going to draw the right side of the pelvis towards the right shoulder. As we inhale, it comes back to center. As we exhale, left side towards the left shoulder. Notice that my feet don't change. It is just this lateral flexion of the spine. Inhale, center. Exhale, over to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, over to the left. Do it 3 more times on each side. And last one. Inhale, bring it to center. Bend your knees. Exhale to lift the ball. Lift the pelvis so you remove the ball off to the side. And come back to constructive rest. Pause here for a moment. Now, for today, some of you have worked the core with me before. And so we're going to examine something else tomorrow. We get really intensely into this core. For today, I'm going to ask you to keep your knees about hips distance apart, your feet anchored, arms are out to the side. As you inhale, you're going to press into the feet to rock the pelvis up maybe 3 or 4 inches. So you are extending the spine. And as you exhale, you're going to bring the pelvis down and draw the shoulders towards your hips. You can reach long with your fingertips. So as you inhale, shoulders go down, hips go up. As you exhale, hips go down, shoulders go up. So we're playing with that extension and flexion of the spine, but here we have a different orientation with gravity. Do that 2 more times. Notice if by any chance, when you come up, your knees are coming apart. Can you maintain your knees aligned with your pelvis? Now let's do that 1 more time. As you exhale and your shoulders come off the ground, bring your feet off the ground. Keep your legs parallel to the floor and your thighs perpendicular to the floor. Open your arms out to the side. As you inhale, the knees are in the center. As you exhale, draw your knees over to the right. Make sure your knees are aligned. You're going for that spiral. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, knees over to the left. You don't have to go very far. Notice what's happening here. You have a different orientation with gravity. Is it easier? Is it more, do you have more awareness? Let's do 2 more on each side. Then inhale, come back to center, pause, draw your knees to the chest, and rock softly from side to side. Now, when you come back to the center, you're going to roll. So we're going to roll into the sitting bones and come into a position called boat pose. Now, so for this boat pose, we're just starting this segment. We're going to get much deeper into the core as the days progress. For this boat pose, I'm just going to ask you to keep the knees bent with the toes almost touching the ground. If you need to hold on to the back of your thighs, you will. But the idea here is to find your sitting bones and draw all that energy, all that awakening of your core to sustain this position for 10 long breaths. She's got to be kidding me. No, I'm not. You're going to utilize your entire core complex to hold steady and with comfort. Could you touch your toes down? Yes, as long as you don't touch the toes to collapse and lose the core. So we're still here. You can also grab the back of your legs, your back of your thighs with a big smile. You got 5 more of those long breaths. Get your mind off of I can't. Have the willpower to complete 3 more long breaths. She's missing the count. That's it. Keep them long. Keep yourself focused and steady for 3, 2, 1. Cross your legs and sit up nice and tall. The next time you inhale, with both sitting bones grounded and your torso aligned with the vertical axis, prepare to exhale and take a twist all the way over to the left. This time you go to your maximum for today. Then take your forearm into the right forearm, into the right knee, and give it a little push. So maybe you can turn a little deeper into that twist. You might hear a pop or two. You could call this your own chiropractic adjustment. One more breath here. Inhale, spiral back to center. Find your central axis. Exhale, spiral over to the right. Once you find your maximum with the contribution of your obliques, take your left forearm into the left knee and go a little bit deeper. Every time you exhale, it's an opportunity to find deeper access. Next time you inhale, come on back to center, nice and easy. Prepare to exhale and fold over your legs. Fold without flexing. Fold as you hinge at your hips with a nice long torso. And then eventually, when you're ready to let go, you bring maybe the back of your arms into the front of your knees and use this as leverage to go a little deeper. And then fold over the legs. If this is not available to you and this was your range, are you listening to the needs of your own body? Honor your range. You're here. You showed up for your practice. That's all that matters. Take one more breath here. Then slowly inhale to come up. Turn your legs around and place a blanket all the way towards the end of the mat so they support your knees and your legs. Then take a bolster and place it along the mat and a block to the front of that bolster. Keep your sandbag handy. You're going to come down into that bolster, placing the tops of your thighs at the edge of the bolster, not the meaty part of your thighs, but just the top of the thighs on the bolster. You can take your feet a little wider than hips distance apart. Bring the sandbag and place it over your sacrum. Sometimes it helps to have somebody assist you with that part. But place it over your sacrum. The block is here to support your forehead. Your arms come out to the side. And the first thing you do is rock the pelvis without losing the sandbag from side to side. Then rock the pelvis back to center. Pause. Bring the attention to the diaphragmatic breath once again. Allow the diaphragmatic breath to massage your entire core complex. Every exhalation invites you to soften the shoulders, the neck, the face. And every inhalation fills up the both sides of your waistline. Take one more breath here. Begin to lift your chest off the bolster. You can bring the sandbag off to the side or just rock the pelvis over to one side or press yourself up into table position. And exhale back into child's pose. So you could keep the sandbag to your sacrum or just get rid of it and then move back into child's pose. Next time you inhale, come upright. If this is okay with your knees, just sit in Vajrasana. And notice what's happening with your ability to sit tall. Attention within the body. And intention to spread this radiant energy that you just invited into your solar plexus with the world. When you're ready, you turn your bolster the other way. Move the blanket so that it supports your head. And find your way to Shavasana, throwing your legs over the bolster. Give yourself a few moments to surrender to the gift of Shavasana.